friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Elizabeth and welcome back to Live, Craft, and Love. I am here today with the first part of my Country Craft Creations design team project. We are going to be building a gatefold folio / mini album type of combination. You'll understand it when you see it. For today we're going to be working on the cover and the hinges, the actual binding, and then after that each tutorial is going to either be one or two. The album itself is going to have a total of 4 pages, so I might divide it into like 2 pages, one tutorial, 2 pages another, so it should be a 3-part tutorial. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty big project, and hope you guys enjoy it. So what I went ahead and did is I went and already pre-cut the chipboard pieces that you're going to need. You should go to Tammy's store and pick up 3 of these 8.5 by 11 pieces of chipboard. That's all you're going to need, and in reality, this is what's left over after the 3. So this one might actually, be useful for these 2 pieces for like another little album folio type project, but these are pretty much scraps. And yeah, that's pretty much what you're going to be left over afterwards. So pick up 3 of these. Make sure that you visit her store and pick up this beautiful Echo Park collection, Celebrate Autumn. And let me try and find the sticker sheet, so that way you can see the collection in its entirety. There we go. You should go ahead and pick up this collection, Celebrate Autumn. This is a collection I'm going to be using. It's absolutely gorgeous and adorable. You should also pick up Coordinating Cardstock by Authentique, the Tricycle Red. I'm going to probably be using the Ginger Snap, and the other one that is a beige color. Where are you? Oh my gosh, it's here somewhere. This is easier. There it is. Where are you? There you are. The Antique Lace. So those are the 3 colors of Coordinating Cardstock, and those are by Authentique, but the main collection is Celebrate Autumn by Echo Park. So I suggest you pick some of this up along with the extra elements such as the chipboard pieces, the seam binding. I think she has enamel dots on there and ephemera. I'm going to pick that up myself personally. I'm going to go ahead and purchase it myself because I want this album to look so pretty at the very end. So I suggest you go visit her store right away and pick one of these bad boys up. Okay, so now to start off the tutorial, I went ahead and I pre-cut the chipboard pieces that you will be needing for your cover. Let me go ahead and start sharing with you the back cover. Here are the measurements. I hope my camera can pick it up because it is in pencil, but either way I'll put it across the screen. The back cover, you're going to need a piece that's 6 3/4 by 7 3/4. And that's the measurement pretty much as how big the album is going to be. 6 3/4 by 7 3/4. The front, one of the front flaps is going to measure 5.5 by 7 3/4. The other front flap that's going to overlay this one just like so, that one is going to measure 3.5 by 7 3/4. And then you'll need 2 other pieces for your spine. These 2 are going to be the 2 spines on the sides, and these measure 3 by 7 3/4. So you're going to need 2 of those measurements. So now that you have your chipboard pieces cut up, you are going to need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock. Now I'm using this craft color that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. You are going to need to trim these 12 by 12s. One side down to, I believe it's 10 inches. So here is the 10-inch mark, and let's go ahead and trim that up. And here is the other piece, 10 inches. And trim that up. Now that these are nice and trim and equal, now we're going to attach these 2 with some score tape, and I don't have 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch. I actually finished it already, so I'm going to use 2 pieces of 1/4 inch score tape. line that up at the very edge, and then the next one right along that side, like so. Let's go ahead and varnish that tape and take the backing off and attach this piece to this one. Line it up. Oops. Make sure that you completely cover that score tape up. And I apologize again for my voice. Trying to be perfect here. I'm trying to do it like at a different angle than I'm used to. And it's kind of odd. Okay, so there you go. Nice and varnish. Varnish that piece. Now I do like scoring my paper by an inch. But this time I'm going to score it by 1/2 inch just to get the line mark on the bottom. So 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. That leaves it at da. 10, 9. Let's see. Yeah, no, I'm gonna score it at 1 inch. So on the, you're gonna line it up at the 10-inch mark, 10-inch side, and you're going to score at, I'm trying to find my other scoring tool, but I guess this, oh, there it is. Things are all over the place in my craft room, guys. So I'm gonna score this at 1 inch, all the way down till the, whoops, make sure it doesn't move, Elizabeth. Way down till it hits the end of my score. Turn this over and again score at 1 inch all the way down. It should line up pretty well with the other one. Now all I did this for was just so that way I can have a guide to make sure that my chipboard pieces are lined up straight. Now this side, the 10-inch side, I am going to score on the 3/8 inch mark. You're not going to have very much room to play with on the side, so you have to be very careful. I'm going to line this up at the 3/8 inch mark, just like so. I'm going to do 2 lines, one here and then one at 1/2 inch, just so that way I can see which one will fit best. Okay, once we have that lined up, now I'm going to go ahead and cover the back pieces of my chipboards with score tape, and I will be using also some art glitter glue that you can also pick up at Tammy's store at countrycraftcreations.com. So as soon as I have these bad boys covered up with score tape, I will be right back. Okay, y'all, I'm back. Now I went ahead and I covered all of my pieces with score tape around the perimeter and inside the middle. Now what I'm doing is I'm just varnishing to make sure that that tape is nice and secure on my chipboard pieces. And I will tell you which order to lay them in on your cardstock, so that way we can go ahead and wrap it. Now we will have about an inch border on the left and the right hand side, and on the bottom it will be about an inch. The first piece that you're going to lay down is your front cover piece that measures 5.5 by 7 3/4. Line that up on the 1/2 inch score line mark, and right above that score line mark that you made to make sure it's nice and straight. After that, it's going to be one of your spine pieces. Let me clean up that piece right there. One of your spine pieces. Make sure that you leave about a chipboard width of space in between, just like so, just to give your album some wiggle room. After that is going to be your back cover piece, like so. Then it's your next spine piece, and then after that is going to be your smaller front flap. And you see how you're going to have about 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch here. So we'll go ahead and get started in laying these out. Take off the tape backing. Oh, you see, I didn't varnish it very well. Take off the tape backing on your chipboard pieces. almost done. Now, just for some extra security, because this, you know, albums and folios, guys, especially if they're filled with pictures, they get used a lot. And over time, you wouldn't want your, you know, album to fall apart on you or warp or whatnot. So I am also going to be using this art glitter glue that you can pick up at countrycraftcreations.com as well. And I'm going to add the art glitter glue in between the areas that do not have the score tape, just for that added security, that extra adhesive. Now I will turn this over and line this up right at the bottom line, this score line right here, and right next to the score line right here. Now I suggest you do not put it down completely until you're 100% sure that that's where it goes, and then varnish. We'll go ahead and give it a good varnish at the end once it's all done. Okay, next piece is one of your 3-inch spines. And I have like no nails right now, guys. I haven't gone to the salon in forever, since like before school started 6 weeks ago. I cannot believe it's been 6 weeks that I have already been with my kiddos. They're already taking their first 6 weeks exams tomorrow, and here I am crafting at like midnight. So yeah, it's been forever, so my nails are not up to par, so I apologize as to how hideous my hands look. I see all these other videos and everyone's nails are done and manicured, look how pretty, and I haven't been able to go, but I will try to be going this weekend, hopefully, fingers crossed. Okay, so now this is your spine piece. I'm going to make sure I give myself about a chipboard's width, or a little bit more than that. Line that up against the score line that I made on the bottom, like so. Make sure it's nice and straight before I actually put it down, and there we go. Finish that. Now the next piece is your largest piece. This is your back cover. And I am making a mess out of these score tape pieces, but I'll go ahead and clean up once I'm done. I can't like grasp it. I need to find my little Cricut tool. That one's really good to take off score tape. So yeah, we'll see how this turns out. How many of you actually can craft with like acrylic nails? Leave that in the comments below, because sometimes I find that it's still difficult because the acrylic nail is a little on the thicker side than your regular nail, so I find it kind of hard to like still peel off score tape or stuff like that. So let me know on the comments below, how do you prefer your hands when you're crafting your nails? Something neat that I would like to know. Maybe I'll get some tips from you guys. Okay, and again, I apologize for my voice. I sound so hoarse. Okay, so now here, line this up here on the score line on the bottom. Give yourself a little bit of room in between, about the width of the chipboard, a little bit more, and put that bad boy down. Okay, next piece is your second spine piece that is 3 inches wide. Come on. Oh my goodness. There we go. So this is the first time I'm going to attempt this type of a folio or gatefold, so hopefully it comes out really well. I did craft one of these designs before I did this, and I think it actually came out really cute. I did it for a swap that I'm in, a personal swap between me and a friend, so I will be sharing that project share video soon. I'm just still not quite done embellishing it, so as soon as I'm done with that album, I'll go ahead and share it with you. And the design is going to be not the same, but it is going to be similar to this one. So yeah, hopefully everybody enjoys it, so that way I can continue making more. Okay, so then here is my second spine piece. Put that in there. take that little piece out. And my last piece is going to go right here, giving me about that 1/2 inch amount, like I said. So now take the tape backing off of this one. And if you see me kind of like tune out a little bit, I'm just double checking to make sure that my camera is still recording. Sometimes I forget and it doesn't have enough memory, and here I am talking away and it has stopped recording like 20 minutes ago, and I can't really go back and redo the tutorial, so kind of bites when it does that. It's done that to me twice. Luckily the projects that I was doing were kind of small, so I was able to redo the project again. But this time, I don't think I'd be able to do it. It's pretty big. Okay, last piece going down. Scoot this over. Here's my chipboard piece. And make sure it's lined up with that score mark. I love doing that, by the way, because it gives you an estimate as to how far, like, because I'm really bad when it comes to putting things straight. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to flip this over, give it a really good burnish in the back, and we will go ahead and get started with our cover, wrapping it. Okay, so flip it over. What I do like to do with the chipboard piece is I do tend to try and draw my little corners that I'm going to be cutting. Since this is about 1/8 of an inch wide, it gives me that 1/8 of an inch gap between the chipboard and my cut. So I do tend to try to do that as best as I can. And I draw my line there. Now since my space is between, like this is a 1/2 inch and the other one's a full inch, it's not going to be like, the cut's not going to be symmetrical or like completely even, but that's okay. Okay, so now let's go ahead and grab my scissors. Well, no, let me use the score tape first. Okay, so using my score tape, I am going to line up and put score tape here on the bottom and along the bottom edge of my album all the way across. I can go over the gaps. That should be okay. I've seen other crafters do it that way, so I think it should be okay. I'm going to barely cross over that marking that I made, just so that way I don't have to, you know, use up my score tape as much as I should. But I do want it to cover completely all the way down to the corner, so I'm going to overlap it over the pencil mark, and that will just mean that I'm covering only, like, I'm only going to be cutting a little bit of it. Okay, so now I'll flip it over to the back, the opposite end. Again, covering my chipboard pieces with my score tape. And down here, now if you have 3/8 inch size score tape or 1/2 inch, all you would need is just one strip here on the bottom. But since mine is 1/4 inch, I'm going to use double. And again, this is just for extra security. You know, you don't want your album falling apart, guys. After all the work that you put into it, all that love that you put into it, you would hate to see your album fall apart while someone is, you know, looking through your pictures and your memories and stuff like that. So it's best to overdo it on security and how well it's built than, you know, be sorry somewhere else along the line. Okay. So here is my next piece, and so this is 1/2 inch. It pretty much just covered from there. Okay, so now give all of those a good vernishing with your bone folder. Makes it a lot easier when you're taking your tape backing off. Just like so. And now I'm going to cut these corners, making sure that, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there is a, let me cut this part off. There is a tiny little gap, about 1/8 of an inch between the corner and the chipboard. I mean the cardstock. So that's exactly what you want. And cut along that line. And along that line. That side. And I'm sorry if I'm off camera, but this is kind of a big piece. And that's it. Okay, so now that we're done, we're going to go ahead and fold in all of the sides just to give them that little bit of help. For this side and this side, the bottom and the left, it's very easy because there are score marks already on there, so it kind of helps. I still like running my bone folder across the edge of the book, just like so. Now this one, top one, doesn't have a score mark, so I'm going to get my scoring tool, and I'm just going to run it across the edge of the album, kind of giving a little score mark, making it easy for you to go ahead and fold it in like that. Then I'm going to take my bone folder, again push the edges just like so with the bone folder afterwards, and same thing here. Get my scoring tool, run my tool across the board, and then run my bone folder across the edge. Okay, so we're good to go. Now it's time to adhere everything. So I usually start at the bottom closest to me, just like so. And then I fold in the middle where kind of like the two pieces of cardstock meet, and then I move outward just like so. And then I'll take my bone folder and give it a nice clean crisp crease and varnish just like so, and along the edge of the album as well, just like this. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over and repeat on the other side. It's always best to start at the bottom and on the top of the album, and I'll explain to you why in just a sec. Again, same thing, from the middle, push up and go to the sides like so, and use your bone folder to varnish, and then along the edge of the book. Now, this is the reason why it's important for you to do the top and the bottom. You're going to fold in these edges right here. There's a little piece of cardstock. You need to make sure that that is bent inward and fold it in, so that way you don't have a very sharp corner at the corner of your album. So fold it in here. And it's very, very minimal, guys. It's a very small amount that you need to fold. And if you can't get that right and part of the little corner is showing, that's fine. Do not fret. It happens to me all the time. I wouldn't doubt that it happens to me now. It's easily fixable. You can just cover it up with embellishments or whatnot. So now here, same thing. Start from the middle, going out like so. Varnish and get the edges. And now this side. Oh, you know what? You see that? I did not put a piece of score tape there. Glad I got it. Okay, now pull the score tape. Score tape. And score tape. Okay, so now start from the middle and go outward, just like so. Perfect. Okay, so now you're going to get your bone folder and crease along the edges where you have your gaps to give your album that bend that it needs. Careful not to push too hard, because then you can actually tear the paper. So there you go. That is going to be what the album looks like. This is a bottom flap, and this flap covers it up just like so. And we're going to attach this using two forms of attachments, using magnets and a tie, just to make sure it's nice and secure. Okay, so now what you're going to need first of all, let me go ahead and clean up my mess, because look at this. I have this all over my desk. And I will continue on with the binding. So let me go ahead and clean up my mess here, and I'll be right back. Okay, nice and clean, and I'm back. Now what you're going to need is you're going to need 2 or 3 of these 8.5 by 11 sheets of craft cardstock. Again, I got this from Hobby Lobby. And on the 8.5 inch side, you're going to cut this at 7 1/4. Right there. And this is going to be used to be covering the backside of the cover. And I'll explain that to you in just a bit. So this one's going to be used like so to cover up here and to cover up here, just like that. Just like so, just to cover it up. But we'll go ahead and attach that in a little bit. I'd rather just get the binding going, and then we'll do all of it together. So you're going to grab another 8.5 by 11 on the 8.5 inch side. You're also going to cut this one at 7 1/4, and then you're going to flip it on the 11 inch side, and you're going to be scoring at the following score lines. You're going to score at 1, so make sure it's lined up. I'm going to score at 1. Oops, come on, make sure it's lined up. At 1, at 1 1/2, and then 2 1/4, and 3. So what's the way our hinge is going to work is you're going to have a 1/2 inch gusset, with the page connectors being 3/4 inches. So then from 3, here's your 1/2 inch gusset, 3 1/2. Now 3/4, 1 2 3, 4 1/4, and then 1 2 3 5. 1/2 inch gusset, 5 1/2. Oh, and this is very difficult because mine at the 1/2 inch mark, it's like right at the part where I'm going to do it from here. To the part where the 2 pieces of the We Are Memory Keepers scoreboard meet, so it's always messing up on that spot. Okay, so we are now at 5 1/2, and then from there we're going to go to 6 1/4. So 1 2 3, 6 1/4, and 1 2 3 7, and then 1/2 inch gusset, 7 1/2. And then 8 1/4, 1 2 3, 8 1/4, and then 1 2 3 9, and then 9 1/2. Okay, so now just make sure that 5 1/2 inch is folded correctly. Okay, perfect. Now we can take our scoreboard out. Let's go ahead and get our cover out, and we will cover this up like so. Now, just to prevent any bubbling from happening, I am going to line the edges of these gaps with score tape, just like so. And that just prevents any bubbling happening. When you bend it, it stays nice and secure. So I'm going to add score tape right here. I learned that from my other album. It bubbled up every time I folded it, and I think it's because the adhesive wasn't as strong as I would like for it to be. My voice is going away, guys. Can you hear it cracking? Oh my goodness. I really hope it's just because it's nighttime and it's late, and I'm kind of tired from teaching, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so lining up over here, and I'm sorry, I have a very, very small workspace, so I'm having to switch and turn and move this cover around. Hope I'm not getting you guys dizzy. There we go. And for those of you who don't know, I am having a back to school challenge giveaway on my channel. I'll link the video down below. It's a matter of just turning in some projects over to me for some points, and there is a fabulous giveaway going on actually. So check out the video, guys, if you have not. I'm thinking of extending it if people are still interested in joining, but they haven't had the time. Please email me about it, let me know, and I'll definitely consider, you know, extending it so that way more people can submit their entries. As of right now, I've only gotten one entry, guys. So right now, that one person, she's taking it all because she submitted. I just haven't done the entry video yet, and I will be doing it soon. If not, maybe even I'll probably film it after filming this, and I might even post it before this one. Who knows? But yeah, she's the only one who's turned in anything. So as of right now, she's the only one who's going to have a chance for that giveaway. And that giveaway is a pretty penny. Okay, here we go. Take these out. Okay, I need to look for that tool because my fingers are starting to hurt. And of course, I don't see it. Oops, I'm dropping everything. Well, I don't see that, but I see my X-Acto knife, so I'll use that instead. Hopefully it helps out a little more than my cut up, bitten up nail. I have a very bad habit of chewing my fingers, especially when I'm nervous about something or anxious. I go to town on my fingernails until now there's nothing left. It's a horrible, disgusting habit. I'm getting rid of it little by little, but it still happens every now and then. Okay, so that's done. Now we'll go ahead and use this. Now with this, I am going to use some art glitter glue all around the perimeter. I love that sound. I know for some of you it might be annoying, but I love the sound. Okay, so I'm just going to line this inside as well. I'm telling you guys, I want to make sure that this is glued down good. Okay, so I'll go ahead and adhere this on. I still want to get the edges done. Okay. I want to make sure it's nice and secure. Don't want any bubbling happening. Okay, lay this down nice and straight. And using my bone folder, and burnish this really, really well. Even if some glue kind of leaks out, that's okay. Now I kind of put it's kind of crooked. That's okay. It's going to get covered by pattern paper anyway. Okay, now for this one. Now for this, I suggest you do not use 110-pound cardstock weight. Use a 60, simply because it's going to be a lot harder for your hinges to bend if the cardstock's really sturdy. I made that mistake as well. That's what I'm telling you guys. Okay, now this is going to get covered up. Just like so. Okay. Now line this up here. And burnish that down. Just like so. Okay, now just as before with the cover, go along the edges where there is the hinge and kind of work that in. Make sure not to tear your paper, then it defeats the entire purpose of it. So there you go. You see, work it a little bit so that way it can bend. Get the other side going. Nice and bending. And now this side of the spine. go. And make sure the edges right next to those are nice and bent. So now it closes just like so. Now I am going to want it to keep it this way. So what I'm going to do to hold it in place for now is I'm going to use a big binder clip. And I'm just going to hold the chipboard pieces in place just so that way it can get used to being in this form. Because if not, I'm going to have a little bit of trouble when I'm trying to close it and put magnets on it. Okay, so now getting back to this. Now, we're going to start with the hinges. And this is right here again, this is a 1/2 inch gusset, so you do not need it. You do need, though, tape on the first 3/4 inch piece. So here's an inch, 1/2 inch, first 3/4 inch, and I'm putting double tape since it is only a 1/4. Skip the 3/4, skip the 1/2, go to your next 3/4 inch gap. Now 3/8 inch of a tape would work perfectly here. Then here is 3/4, 1/2 inch, 3/4. So you're doing a pattern here. Just like so, 3/4, 1/2 inch, 3/4. And this should be, or is, your last page. Now, make sure these are nice and varnished really well. And let's go ahead and create our hinge. Now this is a hinge system by Kathy Orta. I believe everybody is familiar with it. I am going to simply fold my paper right here, where this is the sticky part, across so it can stick to the other 3/4 inch mark. Fold this back, and there you go. Now I do the same thing again. Grab this, fold the 3/4 inch sides towards each other so they can adhere to each other, and then pull it back and varnish. Okay, one more time. Love my X-Acto knife for this. You get the two 3/4 inch sides, fold it towards each other, and then fold it back, like so. And last one, two 3/4 inch side to each other, varnish, and fold back. There you go. So here you have page 1, and I'm going to go ahead and fold it over just so that way I can get the pages moving. There's flap 2, flap 3, and flap 4. Okay, so there you go. Here are your 4 flaps with your 1/2 inch gussets here, 1/2 inch gusset on that side, 1/2 inch on this. So, but if you notice here that this is an inch and this is not. So just for my OCDness, I am going to make sure that this measures from an inch, and I'm going to trim the rest, just so that way they can be even. I know, that's just me being OCD. So there you go. Now, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to probably do this off camera, is I'm going to cover the entire back side right here with score tape, and also score tape on both sides of this hinge. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to cover up score tape in here. So just for example, let me show you how I'm going to do 1. Since this is 1/4 inch score tape, I'm going to do it twice. So there's 1, and there it is 2 all the way to the edge. Turn it over. Now do not put that score tape on top of that score mark. It'll mess it up. You need to leave that score mark alone. So there you go. I'm going to do this exact thing to all 3 flaps, and in the back, fold this over, I'm going to cover this up completely in score tape from top to bottom. This is the hinge, so it does take a lot of beating every time the pages are turned. So you want to make sure you're nice and sturdy. I think I've been saying that a lot lately in this album. So just like that, I'm going to cover the rest. So as soon as I'm done, I'll be right back. Okay guys, we're back. Let me clear up my mess here a little bit. And as you can see, I covered the entire backside with score tape. I'm going to give it a good vernishing. Ow, I almost cut myself. Good vernishing here, and at the same time varnish your hinges and turn them over. That way they're easy to work with when you're placing your pages on there later on once we're done. Okay, so nice and varnished. Now I'm going to grab my folio and I am going to be placing the hinges on the left hand spine just like so. Okay, so where is my X-Acto knife? I'm going to go ahead and pull all of these out. Now, what do you find easiest? Now, here's another question for you guys. What do you find easiest to use when trying to remove score tape? Do you use your fingernails? Do you use an X-Acto knife? Do you use, I've seen some people use that little Cricut hook tool, like when you're trying to take apart the vinyl or something from the Cricut and you have to pick at it. It looks like a little ice pick, I guess. So there you go. What do you use best? So now I'm going to get this, make sure that my 4 hinges are centered. So the edge of my hinges here are centered. And I'm going to use these 1/2 inch score marks to guide me. I'm going to give about 1/4 inch on either side of the hinge marks and make sure it's lined up evenly as possible from top to bottom. Let's see here. Right about there. And there you go. Go ahead and varnish really well in between and along the sides. And again, since we put another piece of paper, we do have to go over that one more time, so that way make sure it bends very well. And here. Now, because you have technically like 3 layers of cardstock on these hinges, on these little, you know, the bends of the book, that's the reason why I decided to use magnets and a closure with a ribbon or a seam binding, simply because it wouldn't hold very well. I tried it having it hold and it wouldn't. So there you go. Here's our 4 pages. This is how it's going to close. I am going to go ahead and show you how I attached my magnets. And like I told you before, I am going to use 4 simply because I noticed that it's difficult to close because of this triple layer cardstock. But like I said, I like my albums to be sturdy. So if I have to spend like a magnet or 2 more, or maybe a double closure, that's fine with me. I don't mind. Okay, so here we go, 4 sets. So down here, I'm going to put my plus signs like so. On this one, I just have to make sure it's lined up. So this is where I want them. I'm going to want them right an inch away. So about there. Get the other one. Line it up right underneath that. Get the other one right underneath that. And last one. Which one's a plus sign? This one. And these magnets, y'all, you can pick these up also at countrycraftcreations.com. Everything that I pretty much use in this tutorial is going to come from the store. These are the small magnetic discs, just like so. Very inexpensive, very beautiful to work with. And now I'm going to get some score tape and just hang it over my magnets like so. Keep them nice and secured. I know they have like a backing to them, but still. I think that's the theme for this video, is security on all of your crafting supplies. Okay, so now I'm going to take the tape backing off of these, and I'm going to place it on top of a double-sided score tape and have it connect just like so. Same thing here. Here's another piece of score tape. Take off the sticky side of the magnet, sticky side up, and attach it to the next magnet. Okay, same thing again. Take off the sticky side, sticky side up, and attach. And last one. Take off the sticky. If I can pick up the magnet, that would work. Okay, take off the sticky back. Oh, come on. There you go. Sticky side up. And attach. Now, when you're going to attach this, you have to be very careful to make sure they're lined up the way you want them to be. Now, the spines have to be equal. I don't want them like this, or I don't want them too out either. Try and make them parallel to each other. And then once you see that that is a good fit, then go ahead and close in on those magnets. Make sure they're nice and firmly pushed down. Just like so. So now you have this front flap sticking to this back flap. But you notice, this is what I'm talking about. Notice how they don't stick very well. And I think it all leads down to the fact that this is triple matted. So what I did to get the book to fold and to hold itself more is I went ahead and I used the binder clip to hold it in place for a while. And I also wrapped it with seam binding or a ribbon. So for now, I'm going to hold this still right here. And I'm going to grab my seam binding that Tammy gave me and use that as the closure. Now I think I'm going to go along with the beige color first. And this one is going to end up here and stop here because the bow is going to tie right here. So this is going to wrap all the way around the album, just like that. And I'm going to use again my art glitter glue. Okay, everyone. I was recording, or so I thought I was recording, how I was matting the cover and decorating the cover, the front cover and the sides and stuff. And then I look into my camera, and lo and behold, I run out of memory. And I didn't realize this until I was practically done decorating and matting the cover. So I do apologize. I'm going to show you the end result, but I will definitely link all the measurements to the mats in the description box below. But let me go ahead and show you what I did. Now, the last thing I did see that was recorded was that I was going to use the seam binding for the closure as well, along with the magnets. And I used a double seam binding. I used both this beautiful ivory color along with the one I told you was a burnt orange. So I used both of these colors for the initial closure. And this is what is the result. So here, as you can see, here is the double seam binding closure. And of course, you're going to undo that to open it. But before we do, let me go ahead and show you here. I used a chipboard element and I backed that up on top of this beautiful plaid cardstock, one of the pattern papers. I also did use some flowers that I picked up off of Michael's. This flower was in a bag, I believe I got from Recollections. These flowers right here, this, and this was sent to me by my friend Kim. Thank you, Kim, so much. She sent me some Happy Mail, so I received these, and when the second I opened the box, I saw that had to go onto my project. So beautiful, beautiful colors here with the orange and the burnt oranges and stuff. I also did adhered some wooden leaf veneers onto the cover. These I also got at Michael's, and I got them on sale since they were Thanksgiving decor. So yeah, and this I just layered on top of layer of flowers and leaves. In the front, also in the back, this is one of the pattern papers from the collection as well. The spine, I used the burlap pattern paper, and I did ink every single one of the pattern papers with 2 different types of distress ink. I used this candied apple, and then on top of the candied apple, I used the ground espresso. So both of them mixed together gave me that burnt orangey type look, which is what I was looking for. So I went ahead and I inked around the edges of the pattern papers as well. I used the burlap on the spine, and on the back, I used this beautiful pumpkin patch looking pattern paper. On here on the bottom, I did put the word thankful. This is one of the chipboard elements. I triple backed this up. I backed it up on the same plaid paper that you have here. I also backed it up on some just regular beige cardstock, and then I backed it up here on the authentic white ivory or ivory lace, I believe the name was, of the cardstock that I got. This is a little piece that I used. So I triple backed that up. And then I also used the 2 leaf veneers as well here in the back. I thought that just added a very cute element to the back of the cover as well. And when you open it, of course, you're going to pull both seam bindings, and it opens up like so. And on here, all I did was I used the solid cardstock that came along with the collection that Tammy sent me. I used the ivory on the 2 sides, the orange, and then the burgundy color here on the inside of the spine. And of course here are my hinges, so I'm not putting anything inside the gussets just yet. But yeah, this is pretty much all I did when I was recording, and I thought I was recording and it wasn't. So I will link, I will put in the description box the sizes of the different mats that I did use. That way you can have the measurements. And this has double reinforcement closure. I did use these small magnet discs for this. If you can, I suggest you purchase the large ones instead off of Tammy's store, because that's the reason why I did use the seam binding closure, simply because the 4 magnets that I used here wasn't enough to always complete. Like, I mean, it holds it well, but it's not very sturdy. I wanted it sturdier. So I would suggest you guys get the larger magnets, so that way it's the hold is a little bit better. I would hate for you guys to just use the magnets and it not close very well. Oops, didn't do that right. I would hate for you guys to use the magnets and it not close very well on you. So yeah, I would suggest you guys use the larger magnets instead. And that's pretty much it for the first part of the tutorial. The second part will be the construction of pages 1 and 2. And the third part will be the construction of pages 3 and 4. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial so far. If you enjoyed this video, please give the video a thumbs up. And also like the video, comment down below, see what you like about it, what you think I might, any suggestions whatsoever. And if make sure you are subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell. That way you are notified anytime I upload a video right away. Thank you as always. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, live passionately, craft as often as you can, and love endlessly. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now. Big hugs.